Hello, Renee. How are you doing?
Hola, Magia. Doing
How
great.
are you today?
I am wonderful. I just had a few days of rest in beautiful Clearwater Beach, Florida. And it
Oh my
was
God.
sunny and the water was very cold. So I did not get into the ocean, but I sat on the beach, relaxed. It was beautiful.
I I envy you because in Poland it's becoming really
Cold.
difficult. Like it's not we had like a 1 or 2 days of snow, pretty
Mm-hmm.
heavy snow.
Mm-hmm.
So my wife, my gosh, is freaking out a little bit because we are late changing the winter tires to from summer tires to winter tires. So I still need to do that, and it's really cold outside, and it's this time of the year. I don't mind cold,
Mm-hmm.
but it's this time of the year when you get less and less sunshine,
Ah, yeah.
and it's cloudy.
Yeah.
And until like end of December is this time when you wake up in the morning and it's already dark, and you know pretty much right now it's already super dark.
Mm-hmm.
It's night. It's almost night.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I envy you because I've been in Miami last year, and I remember it was very nice.
Yeah.
It was really nice.
Yeah. We start getting around this time of year what we call the snowbirds. And what that is people from the Northeast and people from Canada and people from Great Britain, from different places in Europe that come to Florida for their winter time. It's also our winter, but in comparison to their winter, our winter is the middle of summer. So for them,
I know. My neighbor is actually like that. He either goes to Florida or he goes to Mexico.
yeah, yes,
Okay, for the guy from Poland, he travels there because he basically says, for 3 months I can really use some sunshine.
yeah, 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 yeah,
We have
yes.
we have at least 7 or 8 people online, but nobody said hello yet, and I don't know if it's
I
just
don't know what
people are
is.
very shy or they don't want to talk to us or what's going on. Is there anybody out there who wants to speak?
Please type some comments. Tell us that you're there. We get very lonely, although we have each
10
other.
people already that I see.
Come on, say
Nobody is
hello.
talking to me.
I don't
Maybe
know if
there is this delay. Renee, one thing that I think of is there is this delay always, and we
mm,
keep on talking, and then I don't know, half a minute later, our voice is actually heard on LinkedIn. I don't know why there is a it's some kind of a strange setup when they have this kind of a
you
delay
should
from the
talk to the
streamers.
LinkedIn gods and have them fix that.
Yes. Maybe AI can help us.
Yes. Let's
So
talk about
if anybody is
AI. Yes.
sorry.
Let's talk about the topic today since we're talking about AI as part of that.
Yes. So if anybody is out there, let us know. Type I'm going to be watching the queue for the questions and hellos and what name you. Today we have the law number 3. The the law number 3 in the 21 irrefutable laws of leadership, uh, which is helping us to build the leaders brick by brick. It's going to be about the yes, it's going to be about the law of the
Yes.
process of building your leadership skills. So we have prepared a couple of slides and a couple of thoughts about this particular topic. So let's dive into this. Rena, you have already described it last week. So I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
ask you to do the honor and tell us about the law of process.
Yes. So the law of process I mentioned last week, almost giving away our entire episode. It is one of my absolute favorite laws because it talks about um, John Maxwell has a great saying that says leadership is built daily, not in a day. Right. And that really speaks to the point that it's an ongoing process. Just like my favorite example is brushing your teeth, right? You don't brush your teeth once before you go to the dentist, right? And expect to have no cavities. You brush your teeth every day. to make sure that when you do go to the dentist, you have pretty teeth and you have healthy gums. Other people like to use the weight loss exercise or example around how you don't lose weight, all your weight in a day, right? You basically have to create a routine around your diet, around exercise. And every single week, if you lose 1 or 2 pounds, that's a healthy rate of weight loss. And at the end, over time, you're going to see these wonderful results, right? But if you go to the gym or you have one salad in a year and you go to the gym once in the whole year, you're not going to have this beautiful beach body because it just doesn't happen that way. And that really is what the law of the process speaks to, right? Leadership is just like that.
Yes, we spoke many times about the fact that leadership is not something that you are born with.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, some people have maybe some more natural inclination to become a leader, some charisma, etc. But if you've been watching our conversations with Renee and the discussion about the leadership style, the fact that you have charisma doesn't mean that you're going to be a great leader. This is
Mm-hmm.
not charisma is not the only leadership trait that is needed to become a great leader. So obviously there are many areas that will require from you to develop to become a great leader. And as Renee said, as the law of process says, it cannot be a one-time exercise. It cannot be, just, hey, I'm going to start tomorrow and the day after I'm pretty much done.
I'm a leader.
It's, yeah, you're not going to fix all. And by the way, I think it's important to acknowledge again, on the way to the success, you will make a lot of mistakes and
Mm-hmm.
errors, and you will annoy people, okay, and people will annoy you because they will not recognize the great progress that you've made. And sometimes, you're going to miss the promotion, you're going to miss a lot of, opportunities. But it has to be a continuous investment in your skills, in your abilities, just to become a better and better leader. Which leads us to the next kind of area of focus for today's conversation. If you want to become better, you need to prepare a personal growth plan. It's
Yes.
not, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. It's one of the saying from one of my managers from the past. And I think it's absolutely crucial if you want to develop some skills, if you want to grow your capabilities, you need to put the personal growth plan together. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I was talking to somebody a few days ago, and some companies they call it the IDP, the Individual Development Plan, right?
Mm.
And what I what I remember thinking is, call it what you want, but have one, right? It's like give it any name, but have one. And again, you really, I would recommend is, and I would always recommend to people, pick one area and then you work in that area for 12 months on just that one area, right? Because the other thing is, I think when people discover certain things around personal growth and development, they get so excited that they want to do everything at once. The problem with that, it is very hard to build consistent routines if you try to attack everything at once. Again, I'm going to use the weight loss one because it's always something been present in our household. Is if you try to change, reduce your sugar and eat all the vegetables and exercise all and sleep well, you're going to fail because you're overloading yourself with so many changes, and your brain and your body can only adapt at a certain pace. So you have to be very patient.
Yeah, this is true. If you reduce the calories intake and then at the same time significantly increase your exercise routine, well, the exercise have to kind of consume calories. So you're gonna probably
Mhm,
significant you kind of hurt yourself
mhm,
if you will do those both things at the same time at once. Two extremes. You're gonna go to two extremes and then you're gonna hurt yourself for sure, 100%. I actually, talking about the weight loss, I had this kind of a New Year's resolution to go and do a level 6 boulder, solve the level 6 bouldering problem, which I've done way ahead of the time. But my coach at the gym, at the climbing wall, he recently went through this routine, and he is very excited about this, and keeps on telling me how he structured the goals. He wanted to not only lose weight, but he also wanted to reduce uh, the amount of fat, you know,
Mhm. Mhm.
uh, and he wanted to go below a certain fat level percentage,
Mhm.
So he established a very clear goal, and then towards this goal, he established a very, very, very rigid routine of how much, when, how many calories, what kind of food he will be eating. And he's on this run for the last, I don't know, 4 or 5 weeks. And you
Mhm.
can see that he's really nicely losing weight, at the same time increasing the certain type of exercises to build up the muscle strength. Okay, so he can really burn the fat in his body. I'm really impressed by his progress and how he's moving forward. But as we are saying here on the slide, he established a very, very clear and achievable goals.
Mhm.
Okay, he went to some specialists for recommendations, for
Mhm.
advice, to the dietitian to
Yep.
recommend him a certain food regime, what kind of a food he should be eating, he should not be eating. And then he consistently daily applies this discipline of not eating too much, but also doing certain type of exercise.
Yep.
And the results that he's getting is just it's just fantastic.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
uh,
Discipline. You used a very important word, right? I think discipline and clarity of focus, clarity of what you want the outcome to be. Um, and how this shows up in leadership is when you have those leaders that think that they kind of, or those managers or people that are in certain positions, and they're like, oh, I'm going to be a leader. They go to this one class and they immediately try to apply everything. It comes across disingenuous, right? And people can catch up and can quickly discern that. And you lose the credibility, right? So that's why it's important that you don't rush the process. It's not microwave leadership, right? It is a process that takes time, um, and you can't rush it, right?
you cannot rush it. And again, I think there's a couple of things that I will give you as an advice, to anybody that is listening to us. uh, One thing that I believe is super important in this kind of a taking a new goal or trying to
Mhm.
improve a skill. I actually believe that transparency is super important.
Yep.
Many people, when they have some vulnerability and they have some challenge, that they want to work on, they kind of hide it from
Hmm.
everybody else, and they try to protect that nobody knows that they have this problem, and they're trying to fix it. I think it should be the other way around, and I encourage everyone, listening to us, either now, because I still see about 7, 8 people that have joined us, but nobody said hello to us yet.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I encourage you to actually pick this one area,
Hmm.
and it has to be in a trust environment. So I hope that you have some people you can trust. You know, it's better to have it both in personal and professional space. Okay,
Yeah.
so hopefully you have this, kind of a opportunity to or this situation when you have some people you can trust at work, and share your desire to improve certain area. that
Hmm.
that comes back to this feedback and mentorship.
Yep.
You can ask for maybe some managers to help you, but don't be afraid of going to talk to your peers.
Hmm.
Again, something Renee and I we spoke about a couple of weeks ago, that you should be transparent to build the trust. Johari window. Talk about the stuff that you would typically hide from people that's going to help you, because you create this relationship, you create this network of people of support, and then
Hmm.
it's going to be there's a couple of advantages, I think, in this kind of a openness of your challenges. First of all, people don't might stop perceiving you as, as this, kind of a guy that doesn't want to share.
Yeah.
Okay. Secondly, you might get some really interesting advice, because you will be surprised how many
Mhm.
people are maybe going through similar challenges like you do. Okay.
Mhm. Mhm.
And then what is super, super nice many times, when you make this commitment in front of others, it's very difficult to pull back later on. Like if you told everyone that you're going to lose 5 kilos
Mhm.
by the end of the year,
Yeah.
that's a kind of additional encouragement to keep this daily routine, and stick to your plan, which
Mhm.
I think it's very, very important. So my recommendation is for everyone, if you guys want to put a personal growth plan, don't just put it on the piece of paper and put it on your monitor or somewhere and just hide it
Mhm.
from everybody else. I would go to someone you trust. The more people, the better. Share with them, have a discussion, and network. Get feedback. Get information from others, and try to see whether you can build a support group, and get some progress this way faster.
Yeah, Magic. So it's interesting that you say that, right? Because it happens at any stage. And I want to share with everyone, be transparent. Um, I have a group, we call it an accountability partnership, right? And it's exactly that. It's a group of four other very trusted, there are three, and with me, four, right? It's a group of four, very trusted circle where we tell each other our goals for our businesses, and we keep each other accountable for taking the steps to make our goals a reality. Because everybody needs support at one point or another for different reasons, right? And so in our case, what brings us together is the fact that we're trying to build a business um, with particular goals within a certain time frame. And so we have this accountability group, and we meet every Monday morning at 8:30, right? And we talk about, we give each other turns, and we very publicly in front of each other share, these are our goals, this is kind of where I failed to, in the discipline pact practice. And in that failure, we reflect on, okay, what could we do so that next week I don't have the same failure, right? But it's that safe space where we keep each other accountable, and we can reflect on our mistakes so we can kind of learn from them. Definitely highly recommend it to anyone that's trying to build a new business or lose weight or get sober or go through grief, whatever you're going through, right? It's important to have partners with you to help you stay accountable and focused.
Yeah, important will be trust again, and again, I was very lucky to work over the last couple of years in environments where I could trust people,
Mhm.
and I thank them for that. If they hear me, this is thank you to everyone, that was always supportive of my me sharing that I have a challenge that I need to work on, and I encourage everyone to do the same. And it looks like, Renee, in your case right now, when you're building a small business, okay, it's
Mhm.
also, you don't need to be alone.
Yes.
And again, for all the small business owners out there, if
Mhm.
you're watching it, if you have been forwarded this session, and maybe some of our viewers can forward or repost our video to others. Uh, Honestly saying, I've seen now so many situations when SMBs are kind of connecting with each other.
Yep.
Not everybody is a competition, right?
Mhm.
You might be staying in the same location but doing different things. So you might be doing the same thing but staying in a different locations. You're not going to be a competition to each other. You can learn a lot and put this personal growth plan in place, that will help you to achieve something and build the support group to drive you through this.
Yep.
Okay, so enough about the growth plan. I think one more area that we wanted to cover with you guys, together with Renee, is is this learning curve that you will see that I totally subscribe to. those 4 stages to get to a certain competence. So as I said, you're going to put a personal growth plan and you're going to feel great. And after a while, you won't feel so great. Okay. So just be prepared that there are going to be ups and downs, but also acknowledge a certain process.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the starting point normally is finding out what you don't know. It's this,
Mm-hmm.
before you begin your learning process, there is this element of unconscious incompetence. The fact that you don't know, you are unaware of a lack of particular skills. I mean, joining us in this webinar, in this live streaming, is already a proof that you are looking for something. So
Mm-hmm.
good job, everyone. Okay. Um,
Yes.
because that means that you're looking for those areas of your leadership skills or your personal capabilities that could be improved. So I think it's a great testament to the fact that you're willing to move forward, right?
I have a recommendation for everyone, Magic. I have been participating on it's a LinkedIn Live, but without video. I've been
Uh-huh.
participating with Professor Teresa Angostinelli. It's
Okay.
Italian, right? So she has the grid system, which
Okay.
is wonderful. And I invite people to join her calls. They happen every Wednesday at 8:30 in the morning. And one of the grid system is an acronym, right? It stands, so I just got her book. I'm reading it. I'm like, it's an easy read, but I just got it. So but the first step is to get honest, right? You get honest with yourself. And that's where you talk about this unconscious incompetence and then becomes conscious incompetence, and then you turn that into conscious competence, right? And unconscious competence, right? It's a stage process, but the first thing you have to do is you have to get real. You have to be honest with yourself around what your limitations are, what your challenges are, what is really maybe triggering you, what are the things that just set you off. And without that step, right, you really can't start. The next one is you release, remove, and replace the negativity. I love that. Release, remove, and replace. Then, like we've been saying, you invest in your professional and personal development. And the D stands for discipline, which is what the law of the process is all about. And the reason I bring that up is because different authors or different things speak to different people, right?
Mm-hmm.
I love Simon Sinek as an example, right? I think he's a great speaker. He's very energetic. My husband can't stand him, right? He tunes him out the moment that he's, and that's okay, right? There
That's
is
okay.
It's okay. He has a different energy that is not going to be suitable for everyone. And I encourage you to make sure that you're finding someone that resonates with you. That's going to help you stay on track. That's why there's also 20,000 diets around the world, right? Because not one single diet works for everyone. So just a few nuggets of advice, and definitely a shameless plug for my new friend Teresa. The book is $19 on Amazon. She's awesome also. So join her. You can go to my events on LinkedIn and see where she can be found, and I can repost it. But there's a lot of different methodologies, and what I recommend is just find the one that works for you. Like Magic loves to rock climb. You're never going to catch me rock climbing.
I know
Hike
we always had this conversation,
maybe.
like
Yeah.
when last time we went to Munich and there were
Yeah.
2 ways of getting to the top of the mountains. I obviously hiked, but you
Mhm.
said like, no, 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 where is my lift? I want to take a lift.
Exactly.
I like the
Exactly.
views, not necessarily
Exactly.
the way to get there, right?
Exactly.
No, and that's absolutely fine. The most important thing is we both enjoy the mountains, and that's at the end of
Yes.
the day
The
the
common
most
ground.
important part of it.
Yes. Yes.
So going back to the stages, I think So again, you start with unconscious incompetence. You don't know what you don't know. You
Mhm,
don't know what you don't. The skills that you might be lacking.
mhm,
Uh, it's a blind spot for you. It's an unknown area for you. You have to uncover it either through the search, like going to the webinars that Renee just quoted. Talking to other people, being open, actively listening. Coming to discussions like that. Uncover your challenges, and
mhm.
once you know that what you are missing, you create this personal growth plan, and then you turn it into, you turn it into a conscious incompetence. So you finally know,
Mhm.
I'm not a very good active listener, or I'm not a very empathetic person, or I don't share enough, or I don't involve my team enough in the decision making process, or I don't take care of my team's personal needs. Okay, not I only focus on the professional side. I don't create a vision so people can follow the vision. My vision lacks the action plan. I mean, I can go on and on what you can find out that is missing. And at this point in time, once you know what you're missing, I think you need to start working um, on building this plan to start executing, moving to the conscious competence session. And I think, learning, Renee, you're one of the experts that I know on, how to advise people what to do to get better. Hmm?
Yeah. Well, and this is one of the first steps that we go through in Clean Canvas Consulting, right? There's a lot of ways which people can understand their gaps. A lot of that we do through what we call assessments, right? Whether they be communication, personality. We went through the Johari window. That's one of the assessments on how you handle conflict and how do you see the world. So that helps us understand what that baseline is, and it doesn't mean that then the personal growth plan is to work on your weaknesses, right? Because we've also spoken about the fact that you could work on your weaknesses all you like, and you might get to be average at it. So I'm not saying you're going to work to be perfect, not at all, but you should be aware of what your blind spots and your weaknesses are so that you can then increase that consciously and work with your team to make sure that they're watching out, that the people that are around you help you be strong in the areas that you're naturally never going to be strong, and really work to highlight your strengths. But be aware of what those blind spots are. So when you're getting feedback from other people, you're not closed off, right? And that's, again, another one of the key elements to then be able to put together a performance plan. And the performance plan might include, I have to hire a person or partner with a person that really complements this gap that I have, right? But if you're thinking that you're super perfect and that your way is the best way and the only way, it's going to be very difficult.
So once you know what you don't know,
Yep.
and what you need to close, then you reach out to, you can build a program for yourself, but
Yep.
you can also reach out to experts,
Yep.
to mentors, to consultants. I
Hmm.
had a fantastic, I had a fantastic executive coach, Mark Watcliffe, from LHH.
Hmm.
Uh, he's been great. He's been a great help for me
Hmm.
in many occasions. Just kind of a testing some of the assumptions that I had,
Yeah.
challenging me. Explaining to me the areas where I had to develop as an
Hmm.
executive. And at a certain point in time, you need to move to this conscious competence section, which
Hmm.
basically means you put this into the daily routine. If it's active listening,
Yep.
you actively listen every day. You put in your calendar that maybe a warning, for this and this meeting. I need to actively listen during this call, or I want to actively listen to this particular person, or I have put
Yep.
some kind of a plan with objectives, with goals, with some kind of a structure, because you need to get this into your daily routine, and initially you need to do it consciously. Cannot be, it's not going to happen otherwise, right?
Mhm.
And I think Renee gave us last week a great example. I just need to think about what it was of the regular, kind of doing it on a regular basis. I don't remember. Maybe.
Well, I'll give you an example that I heard today from
Uh-huh.
Anthony, who was in the session with Teresa and myself. And it was funny, so that's why I'm going to retell it. So Anthony says, like, we all love to floss, right? And so he says, but if you start just having a little bit of piece of floss dangling from your mouth from one tooth, don't touch it, don't floss it, just leave it dangling, right? You get used to that feeling, and then you start and you floss one tooth, and then a week later you floss two teeth, and so on and so forth. The reason it was funny, it was because my husband is an obsessive um, flosser. He's had a lot of issues with his teeth, right? And it used to drive me crazy because I would find little pieces of floss all over the house, everywhere, used up floss, and next to the night table. It would drive me nuts because I thought it was disgusting, and it kind of is. But anyway, so he found, and the compromise was that he was going to continue to do his care, but he was going to use toothpicks. So now I find toothpicks all over the house. but but the point is that you start building a habit by making little changes, right? So you have little hacks or little tricks. For me, I use write when I need to really actively listen. I write down what I'm listening to a lot. It used to be a trick when I'm learning something new, so that I could, when I write things, I absorb them. And I slow my brain down. So you need to find your hacks so that then you can get to that conscious competence. And over time, you'll get to unconscious competence. You no longer will have to use little hacks. You'll naturally just do it because you've exercised that muscle so much.
I know what you said last. I think you said last week that it takes like 42 days or
Yes,
something
42
to.
days to build a habit. Yes.
Ah,
Very
I
good, man.
do. I do listen to you. You
Worth
see, I
listening.
practice the active listening, and I do listen to you and remember.
I like it. I like it.
I,
Impressed.
I also took a note, from one of the discussions. Wait,
Yes. Why am
yes.
I talking? Yes.
Why
Yes.
am I talking? Right?
Yes.
It was a great advice. I put it as a sticker note on my monitor, and I many times, I remind myself that because I like to talk. Obviously, that's why we have this conversation today. So the final stage of getting to a competence is unconscious competence. You no longer have to think about doing it. It becomes a natural habit for you. It's
Mhm.
part of your skills. It's part of your tool set. You can use it now unconsciously whenever it's needed, and it's a very powerful moment. And especially when you realize after a while that actually you've been successful
Mhm.
in implementing that. This aha moment is like, yes, I've been thinking about it so much, I've been training about this, and then I forgot. No, I didn't forget. And then you realize that it's now part of your habit. It's a very rewarding moment, I must say. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't want people to misconstrue when I said that, don't work on your flaws because you'll never be more than average. You always need to be working on your leadership skills, on your people skills. I've been married now for 28 years, right? And I still work every day to try and be a better wife, a better mother. And sometimes I fall back into bad habits, right? I, Things happen in life, right? We've talked about this a lot. I lost my mom almost 7 months ago. That was a very, a traumatic experience that kind of shook me in many ways. And so you kind of sometimes default, or you kind of let go of some of your good habits because you're in grief or whatever it is. And I think it's important, right, to have all these accountability partners and have this support system in place and work every day to be better than you were yesterday, right? So that's why it's important that while you'll never be perfect, right? You should always be striving to be the best version of yourself that you can be.
Mhm. And one thing will lead to the other as well. Once you improve something, you will naturally start looking for other things, which will become your unconscious competence in finding
Yes.
finding challenges that you need to work on. Yeah. The
Mhm.
earlier you start doing it, the better. Believe me.
Yes. Yes, yes.
Uh, so
Everyone's been very quiet today.
yes, I can't believe we constantly have about anywhere between 8 to 10 people watching,
They don't want to talk.
and nobody said a single word today, which
Mhm.
means that either it's been 7 or 8 people just jumping in and out,
Or
or
we're right on point. We're so good. They're like, oh, there's nothing to add.
or people are driving to work and cannot type
Yes,
because
that's true.
because they
That's
are in the car or something.
yeah.
Uh, Summary: as we discussed today, leadership is not something that you were born with. It's something you can develop, and it's going to be the law of the process says it has to be a deliberate and daily effort. You need
Mhm.
to look at the personal growth, and again, we're going to go back to the law of the lead, right?
Mhm.
If
Yep.
you put a lead on your organization, you won't be able to allow your organization to grow. It's not only the limit. So whatever you're investing in yourself, it's for you,
Yep.
for the goodness of your entire organization, however the big the organization is, and it has to be consistently applied. And this way, you can learn to become a better leader and a better person, I guess, because it applies not only to the leadership skills, right, Rena?
Yes, leadership is not built in a day. It's built every day, right? And I know I say it in slightly different ways. I do that on purpose to make sure somehow it sticks. Um, I do also want to shout out to Jasmine Farnsworth, who I know will
Okay.
be, if she's not listening live, I know she will be listening to us on the replay. And she posted a comment prior to this session, and she said, "If I don't see Lego blocks, because of the name of our session today, she was going to be highly disappointed." Well, Jasmine, just for you, here are some Lego blocks. These have been built, right? My daughter is an avid Lego builder, and the story
Wow.
behind this particular Lego blocks that I'm doing a very poor job of demonstrating, she has been building Legos since she was 3 years old. And the story behind this particular Lego that we actually keep a lot of her Legos all over the house is I used to, since she was 3, try to build gingerbread houses with her. And anyone who knows me knows that I'm not very domestic and I'm not very crafty. So we would always end up with a pile of crackers with a bunch of frosting, and just it was awful. It was the ugliest gingerbread houses. But no matter what, every year we've done gingerbread houses. And last year, or a couple of years ago actually, I thought, oh my God, this is great. I'm going to find some Lego blocks that are with a gingerbread house. And there's a no failure kind of approach, right? So that there was that one year where we did the gingerbread house out of Lego blocks. We also did the other one, and we've gotten better and better, not because of my skills, but now she's 17. She's gotten better and better at building the gingerbread houses. But yeah, they're
I,
your
I
Lego.
remember one day. I remember that one day when my daughters were building the gingerbread houses, and I loved them because they couldn't, like to put those all those things together, the
Uh-huh.
gingerbread together. They had to use this special frosting as a
Right,
glue, basically, right?
right, right.
And they used so much of frosting just so those
Yeah.
things stick together, and they made so many mistakes, and there was so much of this sweet thing, and I love sweet stuff. So it was, at the end of the day, it ended up being a pile of a gingerbread with a lot of frosting on it, and it's like a real pile, and you had to use a knife and a fork almost to cut through this and take pieces, but it was a lot.
Yeah.
And yes, and this is it's one of the reasons why I cannot possibly lose weight, because my daughters keep on figuring out some ideas,
Sure. Blame it on them.
cakes, things. They're fantastic. They're
Oh,
fantastic. I love them.
yes. So Jasmine, that's for you. And hopefully it was also a little bit around how traditions get built, right? We have all these little traditions, and I something that I thought was so mundane when I first came home with a gingerbread house kit for a 3-year-old, and it's become really a big part of our family traditions every Christmas. And that's also things around. It's not a daily process, but it's certainly how we build some of those wonderful family traditions.
Okay, Renan, next week, what is going to be the law for next week?
Oh,
Remember?
magic. You're catching me without my book.
Law of navigation.
Navigation.
Don't
I'm
give it
terrible.
away because
No, don't worry, because I'm terrible at that law. I
okay.
won't give it away. I am terrible at
So
that
now
law.
everybody,
I have a
you
teammate
need to
that's very
come
good at
and we will we will see the explanation and the examples of how we are terrible at some
that.
next week. Okay, so join us next week. Is it going to be, which day is it going to be, Renee? Do we go back to Thursdays?
Yep. Next week we can definitely do Thursday. Yep,
Let
for
me
sure.
check my calendar just to make sure, but I think I have it as a standing meeting. Yes, so next week Thursday we're gonna speak to each other about the law of navigation. Thank you everyone for joining us. It's been a bit quiet, so I hope there'll be some comments and likes after the show. Okay, thank
Yes.
you so much. See
Bye,
you later.
everybody.
Bye.